Welcome, and thanks for joining us today. You're listening to the Women's Broadcast Television Expert Spotlight Show. WBTN is the all-women's internet television station with content that is created by women and for women. And I'm your host, Shea. I'm very excited about our expert WBTVN gal today, and she is amazing. So she's going to teach us a lot of just, great things. Let me tell you just a little bit about her. Kellie Fitzgerald has arrived at this particular point in her life by taking the scenic route, often filled with lots of pitfalls and new beginnings. Help me welcome Kellie. Kellie, so great to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And tell us a little bit about yourself, growing up, some of your pitfalls, and how did you get to where you are today?
I tell people I didn't have a really idyllic childhood. There was a lot of drama, I was born to a teenage mom. So it was at a time when I was never supposed to do anything. I was supposed to be that kid that never accomplished a thing. What that made me do actually is become a teenage mom. So, that's kind of what was expected. That's kind of what people thought. And even if they would tell me, oh, you can do anything, there was always that underlying, you're not supposed to be successful thing. But I'm very stubborn. And I decided, so what? So I had a kid. So what? Big deal. Lots of people have kids, right? And I wasn't going to let that stop me. Her father, my daughter's father, was incredibly abusive. I went straight from a dysfunctional family to an abusive relationship. He did put me in the hospital a couple of times. It was taking someone who was already beat down and didn't have any sense of self-confidence and pushing them down further.
Right.
And it took a long time for me to realize that I could change things. And it wasn't until I made that decision. I tell people I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Things had to change. Things had to be different. And I wanted my daughter to grow up in a different environment than the one I had. When he turned on her and started abusing her, I left. I literally threw everything in my car, the kid, the dog, in the middle of the night and left with what I could carry, which wasn't much because I drove a little tiny car. So it was really starting over. And I had lived an entire lifetime before I did that. And I was 24 when I finally made that break.
And how old were you when she was born, when your daughter
17. I was 17.
Okay.
So that abuse continued for about 7 years. And because of how I grew up and the things people would say about me, I thought I was a bad person. I thought I deserved that treatment. And it really wasn't until Mama Bear came out. And I was like, no, you're not doing this to my kid. It wasn't until that point that I said, no, something's got to change. So I drove cross country in the middle of the night, ended up in an entirely different state with knowing no one, and just determined that I was going to make changes and give her that life that I wanted for her.
I really have to tell you that that's an inspiring background, and it's inspiring because you've come through it and basically saved yourself and your daughter.
Oh yeah.
From any, and it's true about us as moms. I mean, it's almost like you can do just about anything to me and maybe I'll put up with it, which is not the right attitude anyway.
Right.
But we tend to put up with more than what we should at times. But do not attack any of my kids.
No,
that isn't going to work.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. So so what happened? I mean, you took off, and you left town. You didn't know anybody. How did you survive, and how did you get through all of this when you finally made the choice? I can make a change in my life, and I'm not the labels that people are giving me.
You know, it wasn't until I met some wonderful people. I met some really, really wonderful people. And the first thing that I did was I found out that on the West Coast, there were these things called battered women's shelters. You know, that didn't exist in the South where I was from. So I went there, I went through some counseling, and they asked me, you know, what do you want? You know, what do you want? Okay, you've escaped, you've survived. What do you want? I had no idea. You know, at that point, I was like,
I'm 24 years old with a kid, and they're asking you what you want. But I can see that because somebody can't give you what you need if they don't know, you know, what you want.
Right.
And skill-wise, did you finish school?
I did finish school. What happened is I actually entered a writer's contest. I've always written. That was always my sanctuary. I could write.
Fabulous.
So I entered a writing competition and I won.
So
and that
when you
gave me that confidence.
Okay. So you entered this writing thing and you wrote, and did you win it?
Yep.
So you won it. And what was the...
Yeah, I won.
And so what was the gift that you won?
The prize was actually $2,500, which was more money than I had seen in my life to that point.
Of course.
And it gave me a place to live. You know, it gave me a place to live. And once I had that home base for my daughter, I felt like, okay, it's going to be all right. And through the shelter and through counselors and through, you know, friends that I have to this day, you know, decades later,
of course.
I started piecing things back together. It was not easy. It was very difficult. But when you take responsibility for where you are, you can change it. And it's incredibly freeing. People think responsibility is this big, scary, ugly word. And it doesn't mean something negative. It doesn't mean you're taking the blame. It means I accept that I had a part in this. And because I do that, I know I can accept I have a part in something better.
Well,
it's very freeing for me.
Yeah, that's the key, is that taking responsibility for what the future is going to be. Because we can't do anything about the past anyway. It is what it is. You went through what you went through, unfortunately. But now there are choices, and you made that choice the minute that you decided to get in the car and take what you had and move someplace else, and then finding the shelter. Give you encouragement that there were people that cared about you, that do want to help you and aren't expecting anything in return. And that is huge.
That was so huge. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you got a place, and then they're asking you about what you want to do. I know that you went into real estate and did a great job in that arena, in that profession. Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, what it was is for someone with a limited education, because I had graduated from high school at that point, but nothing further.
Okay.
Real estate is fantastic. You know, it enables you to be a professional. It enables you to have your own business, essentially, because, you know, everyone is an independent contractor.
Right.
And I found that I really liked people, and I really liked working with people and getting to know people. And I went into real estate thinking, I'm not a salesperson. That's not my personality at all. And what I learned was real estate is not really about sales. It's about people. And it's about helping people.
Yeah, I spent 12 years in real estate, so I agree with you. It's all about the people. And it's really about finding them what they want, not what they tell you that they want. Because you have to be a little bit of a psychiatrist behind all of this, too. Because what they tell you isn't what they end up buying anyway.
Right.
It's kind of like you've got to figure out what is what is the main thing? Who's the decision maker? Because normally it's the wife who's going to, if you're working with a couple, it's usually the wife who's going to pick the place. The guy's going to, and the husband is basically going to decide how much money they're going to spend. What is that house going to cost? Is it in our budget? That kind of thing. But it's really like listening to the whole list of stuff that they want. And when it really gets down to it, they love the kitchen. They love the bathroom. Whatever it was, that one particular thing about that house that they've always been looking for is there. And that's really what you're doing, is that you're trying to find out what is the most important thing for them. Because you can ask them the questions. They're going to tell you they don't know, or they're going to tell you that it's something else that ends up being different. All those kinds of things. So it's so interesting. Because
it is.
Everybody that you work with is different. And they're great people. They want to find something. This is a big expense ticket in their life, buying a house. Between cars and houses, these are the major things that people, invest in. And but they're looking for more than that. They're also looking for a community. They're looking for certain kinds of schools if they have children, and so many things that you have to be educated on, so that when you ask that question, you can give all the right answers.
Right. And it's about building a relationship with them. And no one likes to be, preached at, or this is what we've got, and, take it or leave it. And I knew a lot of agents like that. Mm-hmm. They would, go straight off the credit score and financials and not pay any attention to what people wanted. Exactly. You have to make that emotional connection, that heart connection.
It really is all about that personal touch that you lend to it, and really letting them know, that you care. Now, you do workshops and educational things now. Tell me just a little bit about that too. How did you get into that? And what are these workshops all about? Are they about real estate?
Sometimes. Okay. What I do most often is I work with women who have gone through some sort of trauma. I'm also a cancer survivor. So there's been a lot of trauma in my life. Absolutely. And I find I sort of attract people into my life who have also gone through something. Sure. And I help them figure out what they want, and how can they best work towards that end goal. I do a lot of entrepreneurial workshops. How do you become an entrepreneur? I've done workshops on getting your book published. I am responsible for probably a couple hundred new real estate agents in the market too, because
that's a lot. That's a lot, Kellie. That's great.
It's a great career for someone that is raising kids.
Yeah. Well, it does give you flexibility.
Yes.
The other side of it is that you do have to work on the weekends, because that's when people have the most time to go out and look at things.
Right.
You can partner with someone that can, where you can, take turns and share commissions and all of those things. So it gives you a lot of opportunity to build your life the way you want to build it, and to make as much as you want to.
Well, and what it has enabled me to do personally is start many other businesses. Mm-hmm. Because once I got that taste of working for myself, I couldn't work for anyone else. So I've had pet sitting companies. I've had, I've owned apartment buildings. I've done laundromats. Today I have a publishing company and an internet radio network. So real estate has funded all of that. Mm-hmm. Plus, it enabled my daughter to get the education that I always felt like I missed out on.
Of course, and giving that to her makes your heart sing, because she is getting something that you didn't have the opportunity. But you know what? You did okay without it, so it's okay.
Well, yeah, and I did, and I tell people that as well. Don't think you can't be successful just because someone, whenever it was in your life, told you couldn't be. Because you can be. You just have to take that responsibility and that action. There's a lot of
you've got to put action behind it. And what's really great is that who you were then and who you are now is miles.
Oh yeah.
Where you came from.
Oh yeah.
And what Kellie, I'm just so proud of what you have put together and what you have done. If you had a word or a sentence that you could share with someone about, what you really think is important, or something that they should concentrate on. We know about focusing on things and
Right.
and making better choices and all those things. What would that be from you?
The advice that I give people all the time is no fear. If you're afraid of doing something, that's exactly what you need to do. That blocks people more than anything else, whether it's a fear of failure, a fear of success, a fear of changing, because we have to grow into that person we need to become in order to hold on to that success. Exactly. And so many people don't realize that, or they don't do that. That's really important, is don't let anything stop you. Keep going.
Exactly. And you know what? It's really telling ourselves I can instead of I can't.
Right.
Or the fear factor, making us, push it away and not take action, as you had said, and we procrastinate way too much. So fear and really plays a huge part in keeping us from putting our toes in the water and trying something, and not always thinking that you're going to fail at it, and not necessarily saying that you're going to win, but you're willing to do it, because those things that happen in our life are our greatest teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to go through it at some point in time, so why not now? And then move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there is no such thing.
Where can people get in touch with you, and where can they find you?
I am all over the internet. I have 4 or 5 websites. My main one right now is ibbylanepress.com. It's IBBILANEPRESS.com. It was actually named after my cat.
Okay.
And, my best email is Kellie with an IE at ibbylanepress.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on when on the road to enlightenment.com, the positive transformation network.com. I do a lot of things, and I'm easy to find.
And I'd love to see the smile on your face about all the great things that you are doing and the achievements that you have made in your life. I think you are just absolutely terrific. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, Kellie. And I want to thank our audience also for joining us. This is the WBTVN Expert Spotlight Show, where, we have highlighted so many successful women that have stories similar to what we've heard from Kellie today. And we would want to share yours too. So go on to WBTVN.tv and sign up if you'd like to be interviewed and to be able to tell your story. Thank you again for joining us, and until the next time.